Hey cycling friends, James with Team Finish Strong. I'm here in Richmond today at one of my most favorite spots, a sprint finish banner. And of course, why else would I be here except to talk about sprints? And so today I'm going to give you some tips on how to make the most of your sprint. Let's dig in. Number one, don't start your sprint too soon. One of the fundamentals in perfecting your sprint is to make sure that you don't start too early. I've seen some races where people started their sprints at 300, even 500 meters. But let me tell you, it's a rare day when you see those sprints result in a win. Now, unless your sprint is head and shoulders above your competitors, I would under no circumstances make the first move. Because let's face it, nobody can hold the bunch off forever. And if you get yourself caught out there too early, you're going to end up getting swarmed by the bunch, and most likely before you reach the finish line. If my virtual avatar could raise his hands right about now, he'd probably be doing it. But he might be doing it just a little too early. Number two, don't start your sprint too late. This can be just as bad as starting your sprint too early. Now, generally, I recommend waiting as long as possible to start your sprint, especially if you're really tired and the pace has been really high. You want to keep your sprint as short as possible. But here we are coming up to 200 meters and nobody's pulled the trigger yet. This is a sign it's time to go. But I hesitated, and that was a mistake. With the Zwift lag, there just simply isn't enough tarmac between me and the finish line to close the gap and win the sprint. Number three, know the course. The timing of your sprint is unique to each course, so it's helpful to do a recon of the course before you race. During the race, keep an eye on the distance meter. When you get down to 0.3 kilometers, you need to be prepared to sprint. And then, depending on the course, sprint when you see the bunch getting ready to rev it up. In Crit City, if you wait until the U-turn to start your sprint, you've waited too long. You've got to start before the turn. If you do, you'll have a chance at it. Number four, keep it floored. In most sprint situations, you're going to have to give a full gas effort in order to get to the finish line first. Let's face it, it's not often that you're going to be able to coast in for a victory. But that being said, you just got to keep it pedal to the metal all the way to the line. And if you don't, you just might find yourself being overtaken by someone with just a little bit more motivation. That's why it's ideal, if you can help it, to come from behind and nip him at the line. Number five, sprint jerseys. Here's some bonus tips for you. If you've ever wanted to snag your first sprint jersey, there are some basic guidelines and tips I can give you. Number one, make sure you always go into the sprint with an aero power-up. That's going to give you your best chance to get it. Number two, make sure you have a good sprint to start with. So practice your sprint, your power, your cadence. Those are things that will all help you in achieving your goal of getting that sprint jersey. Once you've got the mechanics of your sprint optimized, you're ready to go take it on. I suggest going to a world that's sparsely populated with riders that day and pick a relatively short sprint, one that's 15 seconds or less. Picking a reverse sprint that is against the normal flow of cyclist traffic is the ideal opportunity to get your first sprint jersey. Start your sprint about 50 meters before the beginning of the sprint zone to make sure you're up to full speed before you hit that time section. And then it's full gas to the finish. Oh, and by the way, did I mention you should use your power-up? Don't forget that, and you'll get your sprint jersey. Well, that's it for another tips video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, be sure to give it a like, and don't forget to subscribe. Take care, friends. God bless, and finish strong.